That's the GLA 220d 4MATIC. Now the car's been around for a while, but it's had a small nip and tuck recently. And while we could have just shown you some of the small little details, we haven't really driven the 220d, so we thought, well, let's head out on a drive. But before we do, well, here are a few of the details. Mercedes haven't altered any sheet metal, and actually the biggest change to the exterior is the addition of the LED headlamps. Apart from that, there's a new grille with a perforated twin blade design. The lower edge sees a new bumper cladding. The sides wear new 5-spoke alloys, and the rear has crystal effect LED tail lamps. And that's about it. On the whole, the GLA doesn't have the stance of a traditional SUV. But what it does have is appealing looks with its swoopy lines. On the insides too, changes are minimal. An ambient lighting system with 12 selectable colors and a new instrument panel with a color multifunction display. However, it remains fairly well equipped. Let's take a look at the feature list. Curiously, it makes do with only a manual AC system and a reverse camera without audio warnings. Powertrain choices include a 2-liter petrol and a 2.2 diesel in 2 states of tune. We are driving the 220d with a higher powered output that puts out 170 horsepower and 350 Nm of torque. Now this engine under the GLA hood has been the mainstay of the Mercedes diesel fleet, powering everything from the A-Class to the E-Class. And under the GLA, it does a fairly decent job. Acceleration is brisk. You do get a strong surge past the 1800 RPM mark. The only downside though is at the higher revs, it is fairly audible and the diesel clatter does come through. The GLA gets driving modes that alter the powertrain and steering only, with no further changes to the suspension or other dynamic components of the car. This car is no SUV, but it can indulge in some light off-roading with its 4-wheel drive and sufficient ground clearance. There's also a hill descent mode to bring the GLA down slopes in a controlled manner. The steering is nice and weighted, but I do feel it a touch heavy in tight traffic conditions. We weren't impressed with the ride of the earlier car, finding it quite firm and crashy. But this one seems to have a small improvement. Now Mercedes say there haven't been any suspension changes, so this ride difference could be down to a different make of tires. As far as comfort goes, it isn't the most spacious. Headroom and rear legroom is just about sufficient for my 5'8" inch frame, and adding to the hemmed-in feeling is a narrow all-round glasshouse. So what's a new GLA like? Well, let's face it, it's just plastic surgery. But thanks to GST this time round, you pay around 3 lakhs less for a facelifted car.
इसी कभी न रुकने वाले जुनून को रफ्तार देता है सर्वो वर्ल्ड क्लास लुब्रिकेंट्स।